and we have a quorum. Apologies, everyone, we're doing a little bit different. Since this is, since I'm vice chairing and we're doing this remotely tonight. So I don't have the binder, we're just gonna go for it. But to start the meeting, we'll begin with Pledge of Allegiance. And Manny, can you lead us?
My pleasure. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic that stands one nation under God.
Thank you. All right, Michelle, may we do a roll call?
Carrie Meyer,
Here.
Manny Becerra,
Here.
Christina Del Villar. Here. JD Draculich, absent at this time. Alex Velto.
Here.
Sylvia Villanueva.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Excellent, thank you. All right, at this time, we're going to open the meeting to public comment. This is available to anyone in the audience or joining us on Zoom this evening. And public comment limited to 3 minutes. Heather, do you have any public comments?
Members of the public may call into the meeting to provide public comment by using the Zoom link provided on the agenda, specifically https://links.reno.gov/P/C09-04-24. It should be noted for those in the audience that comments are to be addressed to the Planning Commission as a whole. Comments heard under this item will be limited to 3 minutes per person and may pertain to matters both on and off the Planning Commission agenda. Please note that the Planning Commission may not take action upon any matter not advised for possible action on today's agenda. When you are called in for public comment, please state your name for the record and begin speaking. The timer will begin when you say your name, and you will be afforded 3 minutes. If you are an attendee in the Zoom meeting and would like to make public comment at this time, please raise your hand. Lastly, while in the Zoom, please be respectful. Warning will be issued to the presiding officer if there is disruptive behavior, and you will be asked to leave chambers if the behavior continues. We did not receive any correspondence or voicemails for this item.
Does anyone wish to speak during public comment at time?
Look, we have no one in the chambers or in Zoom.
All right, we will close public comment and move into item number 4, approval of the minutes. Starting with item 4.1, approval of the Reno City Planning Commission meeting of August 7th, 2024.
Commissioner Villanueva, motion to approve.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Commissioner Becerra, a second.
We have a motion, a second. All in favor?
Aye.
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 No opposed. And the item passes. Item 4.2, approval of Reno City Planning Commission minutes for August 21st, 2024.
Commissioner Becerra, so moved.
Commissioner Villanueva, I have to abstain. I wasn't present.
Commissioner Vell, second.
All right, we have a motion and a second and 1 abstention. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right. Hearing no opposition, we will close item 4, approval of the minutes, and move to item 5, public hearings. Any person who has chosen to provide his or her public comment when a public hearing is heard will need to so indicate on the request to speak form provided to the secretary. Alternatively, you may provide your comment when item number 3, public comment, is heard at the beginning or at the end of this meeting. Okay, tonight we have 1 item on the development public hearing agenda, and that is item 5.1. We will begin with a presentation from staff.
Good evening, members of the Commission. For the record, my name is Lee Picotti, and I'm an Associate Planner with the City of Reno Development Services. This evening, I am presenting an application for a major site plan review. This is for Viewpoint Apartments Second Emergency Access. For a couple of you on this commission, you might have seen this before. There have been 2 previous entitlements that went through on this in the last couple of years, and I'll cover a bit of that in the background. Also, I just want to point out that we have received no public comment on this item. I know there have been some confusion about it, but no, there's no public comment received. Looks like I might have to use this.
I don't want to interrupt. I can't see the slides.
Give us just 1 second. Got it working? All right, we should be back up and working. Can you see the slides now?
Not yet.
Still no?
Alex, Sylvia, you're not able to see either?
I can see them now.
Viewpoint Apartment Secondary Access Road. Yeah, it looks like I can. I'll let you know if that changes.
All right.
Wonderful, thank you. All righty, well, we'll start out with the map here of where the project is. This project is a 54-acre site, and it is located just sort of southwest of the Home Depot that's located at the intersection of the I-80 and McCarran Road. This is only a 0.57 acre development area. So we do have 54-acre site. This is the only portion of the site that we're looking at today. So what we're looking at is a major site plan review for a second emergency access road. And the reason that we're reviewing that is that major site plan reviews are required anytime we have grading that results in fills greater than 10 feet in height or cuts exceeding 20 feet. In this particular case, we're looking at fills greater than 10 feet. Subject site is located in multifamily residential zoning district. The key issues that we looked at in this are the overall site design and the compatibility with the existing residential complex there to the west. To give you a little bit of background, the original Montebello apartments were approved in 1995, and it was an 864-unit apartment complex that was approved at that time. In 1997, Phase 1 was developed, 450 units were built, but Phases 2 or 3 were never developed, although there was some mass grading that went on the site. In 2022, they came forward with an application, and the Planning Commission did approve 432 units to be built on parcel. And then in 2023, they came through and asked for a major site plan review to develop this access road right here. One of the conditions of approval for that access road was that they not start any improvements on property until they got approval of a secondary access road. And at that time, they were trying to get access across the north of the parcel through the Home Depot parking lot here. For whatever reason, they were unable to attain access. So since then, to satisfy this condition of approval, they've been working with the Reno Fire Department, and they've come up with a plan. So this is that little portion of the parcel that we were looking at earlier. You can see the main access road running north to south on the left-hand side there. And then you can see where Summit Ridge Drive and South McCarran Boulevard meet there. So up at the top of the screen, you'll see the first emergency access road. That was approved with the primary access road, main access road, back in 2023. But problem is that access road was too close to the primary access. So the applicant worked with the fire department, and they came up with this idea to put in a second emergency access, and that would be what we're looking at today. So this is just up a little bit on Summit Ridge Drive from the McCarran exit. It will be a 20 feet wide road. It's going to be gated, looking at maximum fills of just over 16 feet, and also pedestrian access will be, pedestrians can use this access to coming up Summit Ridge Drive, so it will be gated to vehicular access, but pedestrian access will be open. And also, because it's right adjacent to that existing apartment complex, we did a condition of approval on there that limits the days and hours of construction, which is typical with projects like this. On the board are the major site plan review findings. Basically, the access road is compatible with the existing apartment complex. The access road complies with all development standards. All of our public services and facilities are available in this area. project is reasonably compatible with the apartment complex due to restricted hours and days of construction, trying to mitigate that impact on them a bit. And it will not be detrimental to public health, safety, or welfare. The additional access does actually benefit the public, the health, the safety of the people in that apartment complex, the existing apartment complex and the proposed apartment complex. That concludes my presentation. The recommended motion is on the board. I'm available for questions, and the applicant also has a presentation. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Leah. Now we can hear from the applicant's representative.
Good evening. For the record, Dave Nelgrove. I'm the planning team manager with CFA Bowman. I was thinking about maybe not going through, but I'll go ahead and go all the slides here. Online, there should be a gentleman by the name of Bob Skiff. If you get him to promote, in case there's any questions, he's the project manager for the owner. I work with him regularly. So, as Leah said, this was a requirement for approval. This was one of the conditions of approval. The approval that you see here, this for the apartments themselves. The requirement for a second emergency access was also put on to the access road approval, which Leah kind of covered some of the history. So on condition 6 here, I believe it was condition 8, and we'll reference that in your staff report. There's a requirement that prior to the issuance, and we changed this over time, modification of condition, talking to staff, prior to the issuance of a building permit for vertical construction associated with the apartments, the applicant will provide emergency secondary access subject to the satisfaction of the administrator. So we're basically required to have this. I do want to thank staff. We work with staff. We work very closely with Marshall Burke on this, and figure out, hey, this is what we can go and do, and he was satisfied with this route, so we brought the application forward. Leah covered the location of it. I won't belittle that. It is just 0.57 acres that we're working with. We've seen the zoning. This is the one that didn't have, it was really hard to find old maps for this project. But this is most of the previously approved special use permit at the time, back from the 79-95 case from 1995. Phase 1 is on the right-hand side. That's constructed. That was a 450 units. But that phase 2, it got graded but never completed. So there were utilities put in. There were roads graded. There was never any surface improvements like asphalt or any of that put in. But it all graded. If you look at an area, you can definitely see the definition of what's there. And this shows that. Kind of stops, and you can see the patterning of the roads. If someone had this to do over and known the problems that we've gone through relative to access, they probably would have built the western portion first. However, we've been trudging through this, and I think we're getting there relative to the access. So that's the layout. You can see the second access road come out in Montebello. And what this shows is going to be the primary access to the viewpoint portion of the apartments. There's also access ways through Montebello. We're anticipating that as you go between the two, that it would be gated to vehicular, but pedestrians would be able to pass through. Leah noted the first emergency access point here, and the new emergency access point is there. So this has a lot of different points of access, and trying to make sure that we were satisfying what is required and what the intent is from the International Fire. Leah didn't really cover this, but one of the things, and I think she mentioned it in the staff report, but I'll cover it so that you're aware, we're not proposing formal landscaping with this. Part of this would be just drawing your eye to it. The intent here is it would just revegetate. Our thoughts, we want to have this come back and over time, and it would look more natural rather than being some enhanced landscaping with pine trees or different things running down it to really bring attention out, drive up or down McCarran Boulevard. The only area we exceed the 10-foot of fill is in that the green and the purple portion. So I put a black line around that. That's 0.11 acres of the 0.57 acre site is 5,436 plus or minus square feet of the total development area would exceed that 10-foot of fill that is necessitating this major site plan review. We're in agreement with the staff's assessment, review, and recommendation for the project. We believe, as does staff, that all necessary findings can be made, and respectfully request your approval. Be available for any questions you might have.
All right, thank you for your presentation. At this time, we'll open up to public comment. Did we receive any public comment on this item?
Carrie, we're going to do disclosures before public comment.
Thank you very much. All right, we'll open it up to commissioners for disclosures. I cannot see the folks at dais, so start with the Zoom commissioners. Commissioner Villanueva.
I am familiar with the site. That's the extent of my disclosures.
Very good. Commissioner Velto?
Commissioner Welto, same voters.
All right. Commissioners in the chambers?
Commissioner Becerra read and reviewed material, and I am.
Commissioner Del Var, I am familiar with site as well.
Excellent. And Commissioner Rohrmeyer, same disclosures. All right. Now we will enter into public comment. Have we received any public comment on this item?
No requested forms, voices, or correspondence received for the item.
All right. Seeing no requests to speak, we will close the public comment and open it up to commissioners for questions of staff and the applicant. Any questions? Commissioner Villanueva.
I have a question for the applicant.
Yes, Commissioner Villanueva.
Hi. So if I understand correctly, that there will now be 3 emergency entranceways to the site.
Yes, the one that will be open to the public is this blue line one that come out, and it'll go to a roundabout entry. That'll get modified from the entry that's currently there. So going into the Montebello apartments, which is the green arrows here, that would technically, for the viewpoint apartments, that would technically serve as one emergency access point. And we have the other emergency access point was approved part of the primary access road for viewpoint. And then we have this new purple emergency access point. So yes, we have a primary open to the public 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And then we have 3 additional points of access.
Do the other 2, the additional 2, those don't go through the original Montebello? It looks like they
No.
go around.
They connect in with the viewpoint road access. So we have 2 points there connect in with that access way that comes to the south of Montebello. As you can see, the blue arrow one.
So if there was an emergency fire, wouldn't it be going through neighborhoods? It'd have a direct access.
Correct.
Okay, thank you. That's all.
Are there any other questions at this time? Commissioner Becerra.
Thank you, Chair. Just, I guess, for the applicant, kind of piggyback off of Commissioner Villanueva. I was just curious, since the emergency access roads are pretty close together, would this not create a potential bottleneck in case of emergencies is all funneling pretty closely to one main artery going out to McCarran?
This is what we worked very closely with Fire Marshal Burke on, is the primary area concern was really the intersection Summit Ridge Drive and then the loop road coming down. And that was the initial concern that we had when we brought the first application through, was if something happened that people can get through. So one of the things that we've done, let me see if I have you can see on this slide, right below the words up at the top, there's the proposed curb cut that'll allow for fire department to turn left and or right in. Okay. So that would be the primary point. If the intersection were blocked, they could get access in there, either going up the loop road from McCarran or down the loop road from Summit Ridge Drive. They could get either way. The new access point would be a right out only. The thought and intent was if there was an evacuation necessary that people could largely go down this road. We were thinking at first we might be able to with a 12 or something, or I said just in case we'd have it 20 feet wide, so widen the road after initial submittal to the 20 feet. But yeah, there would be 2 points and the big concern was if something happened at the intersection, there might be another way in. So we were trying to get far enough away, and the identification from Fire Marshal Burke was that this met the intent of what the International Fire Code was identifying as necessary for fire access, mentioning that we have multiple access points to the site. But we came down to this as being something that would be acceptable, so brought this case forward.
Great, and because I know that y'all were trying to find a solution with the adjacent neighbor, right? Like to the north and
It was challenging. Been told one point a long time ago when we were working with Harris will be easy, and when it came down to it, we got the Home Depot one settled, and then we went back to Harris, and that became really hard.
Okay.
And they were not willing to budge at all. Dirt path out there, they didn't want to have formalized.
great working with Marshall Burke and
Yeah.
find a solution. I did have, thank you so much. I just had one follow-up for Leah. I did notice in the material provided to us that y'all asked for a hydrology letter or a hydrology letter, and then the applicant mentioned that they were going to submit it. And did y'all get that? And was that to your satisfaction? Do you know?
That'll come in when they submit their building permits, and that'll be reviewed by our engineering team at that.
Oh, it read as it was already done. So I just want to make sure.
Not that I know of. I think that
Okay.
was going to come in with that.
Okay, Nate, do you know? Just
Leah's correct.
yeah, awesome. I'm good. Back to you, Chair.
All right, any other questions from commissioners?
I do have one more question if no one else does.
Go ahead.
Given the, I think I saw materials I know that sites were established, with that, given the conversations regarding the fire, is there issues with flooding? And the reason I bring that up is because maybe looks like we're developing a road on what is otherwise not a road. If the road that we put there isn't porous enough, could that create aggravated flooding? Is there any issues with that?
If you could bring my presentation back to actually the last slide that we were on, probably I'll explain some of it. It ties into Commissioner Becerra's question also. So where we're putting the road across, there's a drainage course that comes down, and we're going to be blocking that off. So very small in this plan. You can see the light green road that goes off. That'll go to a culvert that'll go underneath the road. So that ties in with your hydrology question, Commissioner Becerra. It's kind of hard to see, and I don't know if it's a great grand pointer here, but up above where A line goes, there's a line that cuts across the road, both in the graded area and across the road, and then there's a little V at the right-hand side of it. That'll be a pipe that goes through. In terms of flooding, this will be very, very minimal. Been working with TMWA on the overall road because they want us to catch any water coming ditch. So not only are we going to have to work with it on this, but we're having to work with it in terms of the main axle that'll go all the way out viewpoint. Commissioner Villanueva, I do hope it answered your question, but please let me know if it did not.
Is that the capturing of the water? I'm just trying to figure out if there's any issues with regard to the flow. And I'm not a hydrologist by any means. You certainly make any corrections to my assumptions, but now that there will be a road there that's currently not there, and the road is less porous, will that going to create any issues with regard to enhanced flooding more than otherwise expected? Go ahead.
Anytime that you add an impervious surface, you do have a net increase of water that will run off, and that will have to be collected. There's a fairly minimal area, but there would be some accommodation that we'd have to make, and there's a requirement as part of the conditions that identifies that we need to address the hydrology associated with this, so we'd have to handle that, and that is, as Leah said during her portion of the questioning, that would be handled through the hydrology information that'll come in with final plans.
Thank you.
Did that answer your question?
Yeah, no further questions.
Okay.
Do we have any other questions from our commissioners? Commissioner Becerra.
Sure. Thank you. Just one more. I think maybe for applicant, it's more for edification. I think one of the criteria that we have outlined as part of our findings is that the project outlines a rational phasing plan. Do you want to briefly speak on that? What that looked like?
Yes, thank you, Leah Picotti, for the record. In this particular case, this isn't a phased project, so it doesn't necessarily require a phasing plan. Phase plan would be more like we were looking at the project as a whole, where we said, okay, phase one is going to be those first 450 apartments. Phase two is going to be 432 apartments. Phase three will be the access road, so on and so forth. We put timelines on all those phases. That's why they're asking there's no phasing plan.
Okay, perfect. Thanks so much, Leah.
Any hands, questions? Are we ready to move into discussion? Let's do that. Commissioners, any discussion?
Commissioner Becerra here. I don't know if there's much more to add other than just to highlight that I know the applicant was faced with some challenges with the neighbors and trying to find the solution here. And again, just what I mentioned earlier, it's great that y'all work with our fire marshal and crew and get creative to try to find a solution that works better for everyone. So, I'm ready to make a motion if there is no further discussion.
Please.
Great. And if our mighty crew, to my right, can assist me with motion on the screen, so I. You wouldn't have the case number, would you? Okay. Give me a moment here. I'll just pull it up on my end. All right. Commissioner Becerra, in matter of LC 25-0002, Viewpoint Apartment, Secondary Emergency Access Road, MSPR, based upon compliance with the applicable findings, I move to approve the major site plan review, subject to the conditions listed in the staff report, and I can make findings.
Commissioner Bell, second.
We have a motion and a second. Ready for a vote? All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Hearing no opposition, motion approves unanimously. Congratulations with your project. Good luck with your project. All right, closing the development items. We'll move to item number 6, the Truckee Meadows Regional Planning Liaison Report. Do we have an update?
Commissioner Becerra here. I believe I attended for this fine body. The last regional planning meeting, we were presented with the Reno Plan Amendment, Chisholm Mobile Home Park, that went through this body just a few weeks ago or last month. It was approved by regional. I wanted unanimous as well. We also presented with a draft natural resource plan, draft public infrastructure plan, and draft 2024 regional plan update, which will be coming before this body at the next meeting at the end of this month. And regional staff will be looking for support or adoption by all 3 regional bodies, Sparks, Reno, and County. And that is it.
Excellent, thank you. With that, we'll move to item number 7, staff announcements. Ben, do you have some update?
I do. Good evening, Gilbert, Principal Planner, the record. Planning commissioners should have all received our new onboarding manuals, PC bylaws, and open meeting laws information on that. Assistant Director Angela Foose and her team will be conducting a series of workshops with the Commission in the upcoming months, including topics from the manual and other relevant information to the role in the public review process. Also, updates on council action. Council approved Canyon Land Unit Development Amendment, including the addition to the handbook that the Planning Commission added requirements for all homes to be 100% EV ready. So every home in the subdivision would have an EV charger for inclusion of wildlife safety information and feral horse management language. Council also upheld the Planning Commission's decision relating to the MV Energy Corridor Utility Conditional Use Permit and denied appeals by Energy and Mines Ranch Company. Condition number 9 related to the corridor alignment. So the conditional use permit was approved by Council on appeal, and they upheld all conditions recommended by the Planning Commission. And finally, the Recovery Child Zoning Map Amendment recommended for approval by the Commission will be heard by Council on the September 11th hearing. That's all I have.
Thank you. Also, I want to thank Commissioner Becerra for catching a few items in the bylaws. We'll be reviewing those in future hearing, just some outdated language. So thank you both. And that brings us to item number 8, Commissioner suggestions for future agenda items. Does anyone have anything they want to put forward?
Chair Becerra here. I just wanted to begin with staff. Nate, I had previously asked about agendizing a presentation by tribal leaders that had reached out wanting just to do a presentation on how they might be able to collaborate more with this BAU staff, so forth. And I was wondering if there's anything I could do to help move that along, or if y'all have it covered.
I would have to follow up with the commission on that. I do recall, like I was pitching last, and that was requested information was forward. I'll follow up with where we stand at.
Okay, happy to work with you offline too. Thank you.
Any other suggestions? See none. Move to item number 9, which is public comment. This item is for public comment on any item or general information public comments. Do we have anyone in the audience or online wishing to speak?
Yeah.
I think we have.
Looks like we might have one.
Believe we have Council Member Ebert coming up.
Yes, we have one
Chair.
public commenter.
Excellent.
Hello. Councilmember Ebert for the record. Thank you, Nathan, for sharing the updates about council. I was going to let everyone know that we upheld the Planning Commission's decision on the NV Energy Power Corridor, and also the Canyon development was approved. And I also want to let everyone know that I'll be coming back in October to give like a more comprehensive kind of report about what's going on with the county. To share that. Thank you.
That would be terrific. Thank you. Looking forward to that. Are there any other public comments at this time?
No other correspondence.
All right, we will close the public comment, and that brings us to item number 10, which might have been a record for shortest meeting in City of Reno Planning Commission history. Do we have any motions for adjournment?
So moved, Commissioner Becerra.
A second?
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. And thank you and have a night.
Bye, everybody.
Good night.